It sheds tears. The nasal discharge keeps falling. The vision is also increasingly open. Walk. Skin tongue tag. It looked like it was about to pass away. But right then, the car window was smashed by someone. In the rain, it sees a warm face, looking at me anxiously, and then began to faint. When you wake up, he saw a boy who was, look at it with excitement. It turned out that he had been saved by the mother and daughter, to live when they are on the verge of death. The dog seems to feel kindness from the boy. He fondly licked the boy's cheek. Ethan was immediately cursed. Adorable dog. Virgin. Decided to adopt the dog. But if you want to keep a dog in the house, you need to. Must have his father's consent. Thanks to my mother's persuasion, Dad agreed to Ethan's request about adopting the dog. This made Ethan extremely happy. The next day, Ethan and his mother took the dog to make a name tag. On one side is the dog's Bailey name. On one side is the boy's name, Ethan. From then on, Bailey has a happy roof over, and a loving owner is Ethan. Even in the evening, Bailey also hid in his legs too, secretly read the story, and both Mom and Dad pamper him very much. Only the big cat in the house is not liking it. Every time Bailey wants to be a friend, we're flatly rejected. Happy moments are always flowing, quietly. For a moment, Bailey has grown up to be the dog is big, strong and handsome. One day, the whole family went out at my grandmother's house. Bailey repaired the road, are curious about everything. As soon as I got home, it immediately shows its hyperactive instinct by eye. How to try to make friends with these The chicken is forever in the house. It happily ran and jumped on the vast lawn. When hungry, it rushes home like the wind, and devouring bowls of food. Then I can't wait. More and run out, play with the ball excitedly. Even fire droppings in the grass bushes. It also has to sleep and study thoroughly. When tired, Bailey rolls over the pile. Fragrant fire feces. Life in this era is truly happy. That every dog dreams of. Not only that, Bailey has won the hearts of his grandparents. Bailey felt that the old people understand dogs better. He didn't just sneak up on Bailey, eat chicken legs under the table. She also gently rubbed her clothes with her feet, as if they were massaging. This was supposed to be a fun family meal, but Dad doesn't stop complaining about public, work, and career difficulties. Break the quiet atmosphere. The jar has not been there for a long time. Ethan doesn't understand these people's worries, so he took Bailey outside. The boy's immature soul has not yet understand the troubles of adults. Just a moment later, he had forgotten all his sorrows and play a pale ball with Bailey. Until I saw my dad go out. Ethan understood the story and enthusiastically expressed, "Show it to my dad." Pale shadow on the poison stitch with Bailey. But Dad only responded with a somewhat fitting compliment. So, a fun weekend seems to pass quickly. Life returned to normal. Early in the morning, after reluctantly see Ethan off to school, Mom also rushed to work. Only Bailey and the cat are left. Not very friendly at home. Bailey was very bored when at home alone, so it only knows how to find the cat. Not friendly to play with, but the cat didn't want to play with it and run away. So a dog and a cat caught at the beginning of the chase in the house. They run from the living room to Dad's office. When Ethan came home from school, he stood up when he saw the scene. The statue was exposed in the house. He hurriedly cleaned up the mess, filler that Bailey caused. At that moment, Dad also came home. See the office of I was destroyed into a city. Dad wanted to get angry right away, but Bailey still didn't know he was wrong. He also happily sucked on his slippers. Dad ran outside to play. As a result, he was taken into custody by his father and dragged him in front of Ethan. Dad grabbed Bailey by the neck and taught Ethan, "Take it away. Hurry up and take it away." Then I said, "I am the master. You have to prove to him who the master is." It is this word that says. Years later helped Ethan realize, Bailey, when it is reborn. Ethan was helpless and could only take advantage of the neatness, but unexpectedly when he called Bailey, he called again. It was a dog singing. Bailey seemed to enjoy being called the big guy. "I'm the landlord, you're the big dog. Baby dog. Baby dog." Because he wants to be promoted. Dad has prepared a collie, precious anniversary gold, planned to give it to the boss to create a relationship. But unexpectedly, Bailey accidentally swallowed his eyes. During meals, Dad was going to take out the bronze and give it to the boss. Ethan realized that something was wrong. Lianjia just said that there are rats in the house. As a result, the party is prepared, thoroughly, completely ruined. The boss's wife also fell to the ground. Completely put an end to hope, promoted by his father. Although the promotion is not related to the party. But Dad still did everything to lead the way to Bailey. He kicked him out of the house, and then lock it in a dump storage room. Bailey didn't understand what was going on. Just feel the air in. Tonight's house is terrible. The little master seemed to be very worried about it. So he sneaked into the bedroom. Wanted to be with Ethan so he wouldn't be sad. The next day, Ethan went to help his father out. He played picking up the ball with Bailey on the grass. I hope Dad will be happier when he sees that scene. But, with a man who is experiencing a career crisis, that terrible feeling, it is not easy to disappear. He just looked at it for a moment, and then went back to the house. In October, Ethan has become a hot boy. He is also a key member of the school football team. But Dad has completely lost his job, all day at home, and quietly sad. He was no longer interested in his son's excellence. Bailey looked at his father. It felt the family atmosphere, no longer as happy as before. Seeing his father was so pitiful. Tomorrow, Ethan will always be by his side. He even took him to the park. Bailey smelled a lot of smells, incense in the air. Looking at the crowded flow of people, are extremely excited. At that moment, he smelled Ethan's smell, something different. Then looked in the direction that Ethan was looking. I only saw 100 uncles looking at a girl, beautiful, with sparkling eyes. Bailey immediately realized Ethan's first thought. It ran forward and slammed its head into the girl's skirt. The girl was startled and frightened. Ethan explained to her that the dog did it himself. He didn't direct it at all. Ethan's clumsy explanation made the girl laugh. She thought about her stomach. What bad intentions did the dog have? Isn't it because the master got up and told him? Looking at Bailey's career, the girl gently rubbed it. She quickly fell in love with Bailey, loved to attract and also promote sympathy with Ethan Farm. So, thanks to Bailey's miraculous help, Ethan and Hannah fell in love. From then on, the two regularly date, and always together. Take a super fast train, driving for a walk, going to the river to return to the water. And Bailey became an uncle. True single dogs witnessed the sweet love of the two of them, despite the addition of Hannah. But Bailey felt he received yet more love, because Hannah loves him as much as Ethan. But the beautiful life is always broken, for unexpected reasons. Ethan's father, after losing his job, all day long drinking wine, sometimes even beating his mother. Ethan was very disappointed in his father. He didn't understand why a father. Of course, gentleness has become like that again. But his disappointed eyes were met by his father. Misunderstanding is disrespectful. Although Ethan tried to comfort his father, but was still cursed by his father. In the midst of chaos, Dad pushed Mom to the ground. Ethan couldn't take it anymore. He pushed his father down. Ethan shouted, telling his father to leave. The family, which was originally peaceful, is now so broken. Bailey didn't understand what was going on. Only from then on, no longer see the figure of her Dad in the house too. At the same time, the cat in the cot. The house also left. Bailey looked at Ethan and his mother. Cat in the garden. It's innocent. Do not understand the meaning of the substance. Think the cat is playing the game of sneaking away with it. He excitedly dug up the cat and brought it in front of her mother. Its unintentional action causes. Mom screamed in horror. Bailey could only get into hiding. Despite the difficulties faced by the family, but Ethan took a step. Progress in learning. He received the notice. We recruit universities, thanks to his outstanding talent in rugby. But this makes your classmates jealous. Coincidentally, at that time, my father came to watch the match of his son and was recognized by his classmates. They began to taunt Ethan. No matter how good you are, fortunately, there is also an alcoholic father. Fortunately, there's nothing to be proud of. Ethan didn't want to cause trouble, but classmates are still constantly provoking. Couldn't stand it any longer. He turned his hand directly at the other friend. Unexpectedly, this act of puffiness, making the other party hold a grudge. That night, he threw a flare at Ethan's house. Although Bailey found and chased, the friend pushed away, but when he turned around, discovered that the house had been violently loaded. Not thinking about your own danger, Bailey rushed into the house too, woke up Ethan, who was fast asleep. But at that time, the fire had spread to the second floor. Ethan and Mom could only tear the sheet out of bed, made into a rope too, exiting from the second floor. After getting Mom and Bailey down safely, when Ethan wants to get out, the rope suddenly broke. He fell sharply to the ground, and was struck by the fruit tree fell on his foot, broke his leg. Mom took Ethan to the hospital, and Bailey had to ask the police. Temporary care. Looking at the master further away, Bailey thought that Ethan was abandoning him. It screams and jerks, lanyard to run along. Just ran a few steps. It detected that the arsonist was hiding behind a cup of trees. Without saying a word, it rushes and knocks it out, the perpetrator on the spot. When the police arrived, my friend was so scared that he confessed everything, sin, without being questioned. Were directly taken away for investigation. Because of this, Ethan missed the opportunity to go to college, although he went to his grandparents' house to stay temporarily. But this unexpected shock has made him lose all his will. No longer interested in anything, Ethan could only lock himself in his room. Also no longer playing with Bailey. Bailey was bored and could only play with the herds, donkeys at the farm to pass the time. One day, Hannah visits Ethan. Unexpectedly, Ethan, because he didn't want to involve his girlfriend, suddenly asked to break up. Listening to Ethan's heartfelt words, Hannah was deeply heartbroken, could only cry and leave. Bailey could only stand still and watch. Ethan did a foolish thing. He hurriedly picked up the leather ball to try to hold on. But the heart was hurt. It is impossible to heal immediately. When Bailey brought the ball back, Hannah left in tears. In the following days, Bailey always thinks of Hannah and you. He knew Ethan too. But the person who has been deeply hurt will never come back. Due to an injury to the leg that missed the muscle, association to the desired university, Ethan had to choose a university, study agriculture normally. The day he left, Bailey didn't want to break up and hugged him tightly, but when he saw Ethan driving away, Bailey continued to follow him. It runs through the meadow. It crosses the road, crossing the golden rice field. Lost. Ethan saw Bailey and stopped. Bailey immediately jumped into the car, hugging Ethan tightly to say goodbye. But the one who has to go is the last, and still have to go. Bailey sadly returned home alone. It doesn't understand the meaning of criticism, but it knows that porcelain, the destiny of a dog, is always next to the master. But now Ethan is gone. Bailey feels his dog's life. I feel like I have lost my meaning. He no longer likes to play. Also do not want to have fun with the donkeys. He used to sit alone by the lake, waiting for the loving master to come back. One day, Grandma found Bailey lying still. Do not eat a single grain of food. Grandparents were worried and hurriedly gave it Nivea. Go to the hospital for a checkup. The life of a dog is short. Its kidneys are weakening rapidly. Bailey lay quietly on the table, habitual, no longer enough to make anyone happy. At this moment, he wished that Ethan was by his side. When Bailey neared the point, he heard that familiar voice. He slowly opened his eyes and made a face. He always remembers the love that appears in front of him. Ethan was sadly soaring over it. Bailey didn't want Ethan to be sad, but it no longer has the strength to. Playing with Ethan too. Short but happy life. This blessing has ended. In anger, next to Ethan. In a dreamy moment, Bailey recalls life. His first. Despite living a wandering life, but it has a loving dog mother, and a lovely little group of friends. There would be a happy life. But, unexpectedly while playing joke with you, it was caught by the dog catching team. It hasn't had time to feel the full joy of dog life. Then the innocent life has quickly ended. When he regained consciousness, Bailey realized that he had reborn as a German dog. But there was no longer Ethan by his side. Even the little boy also disappeared. In this life, its owner is a policeman, and it becomes a professional dog. Although the work is very hard, but simple and clear. Just follow the master's orders, to search and look up, and then receive the help. Honored from the beginning. But what he didn't understand was, even though it did very well, but the owner has never smiled. He could clearly feel the loneliness, application emanating from the owner. He wanted to go to bed next to his master, keep the yarn warm and eat him. As if they were kicked out every time. It's innocent. Don't understand what that means. Only know that the owner often looks at a photo that hesitates. It turns out that the owner used to have a beloved wife. But I don't understand why. Lost her forever. Perhaps when you have lost your most loved one, it is very difficult to open your heart to love again. One day, police received an alert for a girl. The girl was cornered by a criminal. The police took him to arrest. It sniffed at the smell of pants, girl's shirt and lead. The police found the traces of criminals. Under the close proximity of the police, the criminal panicked. Immediately compressed the girl into the dam. Seeing the girl fall into the water, Bailey immediately rushed down without hesitation. Despite the risk of being swept away, it swam to the girl's side successfully. It bit the girl's clothes and pulled her to shore. Fast-flowing water and the weight of all. She made Bailey swim very hard. But At that moment, Bailey saw that his master was in danger. It does not bring fatigue. Tired of saving people, the golden suit rushed over. Bravely defeating the criminal, Thumb was about to shoot and save the owner safely, but it itself is injured, lying in the blood. This is the scene of K-27. I need immediate assistance. Ellie, my dog was shot. In turn, Ellie was shot. The owner held it tightly in his lap and cried. The water bloomed and begged him not to abandon him. Bailey sees tears of pain, the suffering of the master, and feel that they have completed into a killing mission. Not only save the girl, but even save the master. But a feeling of helplessness all over his body. Although this life is short, but he felt very proud. Through the tasks, it has saved many lives. The only regret is, without Ethan by his side, and there is no joy like being with Ethan. When Bailey is reborn again, it became a serial girl dog. He has short legs under the name Bailey. The owner this time is an aunt, nice black girl. She loved Bailey dearly. Take it with you wherever you go. But Bailey sensed that Master Mai, is a little lonely. She took it to school with her, and reject those who want to flirt, on the pretext that she had to take care of Bailey. But deep down, she still longs to have a sweet love. But Mai is she likes to stay at home. She often orders food when she is at home. Soon, not only Mai is obese, but also Bailey also has high blood fat. There is no other way. Mai had to take Bailey to the doctor. The doctor's advice is simple. Simply have to exercise. So both people and dogs went to the park. But Bailey was used to being lazy. Didn't want to move at all. It is located right down the ancient beach, and refused to do anything. I can't be sexually aroused no matter what. Suddenly, Bailey smelled a special scent. He stood up and looked around, and spotting a dog, the great carriage light enters its world. Bailey was immediately fascinated. He wanted to chase that big dog. Although the bodies of the two of them, completely disproportionate, but it was rejected outright. Thought that single life will continue. But unexpectedly, his owner, a big dog is, Mr. Jaden used to want to flirt. Mai is at school. The meeting again brought two lonely hearts come together. Bailey witnesses the moments, their happiness. Two people and two dogs created together. So, a warm family. The whole family happily spends at home. Continue the lifestyle. They prefer to stay at home. Soon, the family has welcomed a new member. And not just one. Two dogs become friends. Children's play. Bailey also had an additional object to protect. But as time passed, one day, the big black dog was dropped by his owner and never come back. Then not long after, Bailey also came to the end of his life. Mai sat quietly beside him. Sadly tells about the humor. So far. But the quality is what, inevitably. Bailey slowly closed his eyes to close a happy life. When it is reborn again, he met a new master. She's a smiling girl. She chose it right in the middle. Many other dogs. But her boyfriend doesn't like dogs. As soon as I got home, he has staked Bailey off the field. Even if it rains and winds, they don't let him into the house. This life for Bailey, it's much more miserable. He didn't get any love from the owner. And when the love of the two of them tells me, the boyfriend was a little angry at Bailey. He drove it to a strange place, and I forsake it patiently, on the cold road. Bailey looked at the car, in a daze. Heart is in great pain. This time, it didn't chase. Also did not shout. He didn't want to return to the throne. That cold house too. Bailey becomes a stray dog. No one loves you. One day, he wandered to the park, seeing other dogs happy, the appearance of playing with the owner. Bailey felt extremely jealous. Suddenly, he smelled a familiar scent. No matter how many lifetimes he has experienced, that warm feeling is always exists in Bailey's heart. So, it begins to search by the memory of that familiar scent. Bailey crosses the eastern roads, crossing the crystal clear spring in the middle of the mountains and hills. Finally, it reached the field, golden wheat, in memory. The atmosphere is filled with almond flavor. Fook hadn't seen him for a long time. Trains, potatoes, trees, horses. Garbage, trees, chickens, garbage. It was the little horse. Bailey hurriedly rushed into the wheat field. Let the waves of rice hit its face. But nothing can stop. It moves forward. Eventually, it reached shallow camp that he always remembers. He saw that the donkey had used to play with it. Memories instantly fade in Bailey's head. After 4 lifetimes, it finally met again. The first owner. Ethan is now an uncle. He rushed forward excitedly, licking Ethan's face. Honor for being so happy. But the uncle can't speak. Although Ethan was a little surprised before, its warmth, but still didn't recognize Bailey, is completely different from the past. Even so, Ethan was kind enough to give him food. I hope he will eat his fill, and then go home. But Bailey was still lying at the door. After so many hardships to get home, how could it leave? But Ethan didn't understand his heart. There is only one way to take him to the camp, temporarily cursed for animals. Looking at Ethan as he was about to leave, Bailey was confused. He didn't understand why Ethan abandoned me again. It only knows how to worry about running around in a cold iron cage. But Ethan still turned his back and left. When I got home, Ethan recalled the scene for 3 days, and the feeling of immediate remorse, that is, grief in the heart. Bailey's image keeps floating, pants in his mind. So, early the next morning, he rushed to the temporary camp. He decided to adopt his uncle, this special dog. In fact, Ethan was the right person, the most amazing owner. Even though I didn't realize it was Bailey, he still let him sit in the driver's seat. Devote yourself to bathing him, and take it to redo the name tag. Eventually, it was struck with Ethan. But Bailey felt the fail, sorrowful deep in Ethan's heart, a sense of loneliness emanating from him. Since breaking up with Hannah and after Bailey's quality, Ethan had been lonely for all these years. At this time, Bailey couldn't help but recall the smell. Familiar incense in parks and decision help master again. Early the next morning, Bailey got out of the house by himself, based on the familiar scent in park, in search of Hannah. Fortunately, its allegiance has touched by fate. He met his daughter again, of Hannah in the park. Bailey quietly followed her, baby, and found Hannah. Now he is also old. At this time, Hannah had become a grandmother with grandchildren. When he saw that Bailey kept refusing to come home, but stares at me, Hannah curiously grabbed the name card, Bailey's for viewing, and now, that familiar name is now in front of her eyes. Emotions buried deep in the heart. She suddenly got up. She sent Bailey to the camp that was once overflowing, happy but also heartbreaking. When Ethan saw that the one who had come was Hannah, hundreds of emotions in his heart. I don't know how to face it. With your ex. Hearing a knock on the door. At this time he was not enough courage to open the door. Bailey knew Ethan was in the house. He called eagerly and banged on the door. He didn't understand why Ethan was like that. Obviously he was at home, and then I put the crack of his. He came back, but he hid. Avoid not opening the door. In the end, Ethan took it all. Courage to open the door. He saw the face that he remembers forever. Hello, Ethan. Hello, Hannah. Over the years, Ethan always remembered Hannah, and now he knows that his exes are also living alone. Seeing that Hannah was about to turn her back and leave, Ethan finally bravely called Mrs. Lai and confessed. For her, nostalgia and regret has been hidden in his heart for many years. After the vicissitudes of life, the two reunited in the presence of friends and family. In the end, they had a late wedding ceremony. And Bailey also has a mission. The case has not been completed. It was to make Ethan recognize himself. He found the ball that they used to play together in the warehouse. When I saw the dog holding the ball and want to play with me, Ethan remembers to play catch the ball that he used to play with Bailey. I'm ready. Okay, let's catch it. Ethan looked at this unbelievable scene. Couldn't help but exclaim, "Big dog." When hearing the word dog song, Bailey was overjoyed. It hurriedly cried out in response, "You're a big dog." No way. It's me. It's me. Ethan, it's me. Bailey, Dotwa. Big dog, Bailey. Bailey, Bailey.
Enjoyed the video? Hit subscribe, drop a like, share with your crew, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk movies.